Hi everyone, and especially Ward 4 residents. I have here Olivia Duke. Olivia, welcome.
Pleasure.
And she's running for Ward 4 Councillor for Burlington 2022 Municipal Election. So Olivia, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? What do you do for fun? So that the audience can get to know you better.
Awesome, thank you. So I live in Burlington. I'm in South Burlington, not too far from where we're standing here today. I've been in Burlington for 15 years, where I live with my husband and our two children who are 7 and 9 years old. What I like to do for fun, Burlington is filled with such beautiful spaces that we can utilize here as families, as friends to gather. Some of my favorite parts of Burlington include the RBG, the Paletta Grounds, Conservation Halton, and of course Bronte Creek.
Yeah, and our waterfront.
Yes.
Amazing, okay? And once our waterfront extends from where we have Spencer Smith Park all the way towards the Burlington Beach area and extends, this is going to be one of the best city in terms of the waterfront.
Absolutely, we're very lucky to have a
very
waterfront.
Proud.
Yes,
right?
very proud.
Very proud.
Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us, have you served in public office before?
So I have not served in public office to date, but I have been involved with a number of not-for-profit executive boards here in the city, and we do work with the Halton region closely, and we are part of the decision-making that collaborates with the Ministry of Education.
Yeah, that's extremely important to be involved, because those organizations, they know the grassroots people, what they need, and to be able to be facilitating some of those decision making, you have the insightful information.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So Olivia, I live in Ward 4, I live in the Longmoor area. For someone that's coming new, and if they don't know, what do you believe is the role of a Ward 4 or any city councillor?
The role of a city councillor in general is to ultimately work with the residents of the ward, with the residents of the city, and work for the residents of the city and the ward. That's important, keeping those communication lines open and active, and being able to have healthy dialogues with these residents to make the decisions that the city needs to be making, and the decisions that are right for both the ward residents and the city residents.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of attraction towards people moving into Burlington. Okay, there are people coming from just not from abroad, but even inner cities, Greater Toronto area. How would you get these people involved in having that sense of belonging, having that, oh my God, there's something good, bad, or ugly going on, and I want to bring that information to Olivia? How would you welcome that?
Community feedback is the most important feedback anyone can get, whether you're a councillor, a city staff member, or a board member at the regional level. First and foremost, it's encouraging residents to enable those communications to happen, those conversations to happen, normalizing it. It shouldn't be a top-down approach. It's always going to be a bottom-up approach, and that's where we need to focus our attention. Having community engagement events, keeping those communications lines open, and that dialogue on the regular is so important to make sure that the decisions that the city's making collectively is through collaborative measures.
Absolutely, it's so important, especially for you to be visible, to be interacting, because that's when they will express some of their likes and dislikes, and it'll help you to lead them and represent them.
Absolutely.
In Burlington, I see this amazing diversity expanding, the multiculturalism, and these people also have different needs and things of that nature. Have you been involved with this community?
So that's a very excellent question. In short, English is not my first language.
Got it.
So I've had very much first-hand experience, lived experience, with the challenges, the language barrier, the communication barriers throughout my entire course of my life. My parents had worked really, really hard to bring us here to Canada, and I see the challenges that they still continue to go through. So we do need to make sure that we do have community programs available, that the gaps are not being missed, and that they are inclusive and diverse and available and accessible to all.
Yes, because the needs are so different. Needs could be very different. So I'm curious to know, so if English is not your first language, what was it?
Polish, actually.
Polish? Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Well, there you go. You learn something new every day.
So how would you say hello to Burlingtonians in Polish?
Dzień dobry.
Oh, dzień dobry. Okay, hey guys. What do you think is the state of our Burlington's public transit?
So public transit is an integral part of any municipality. It's very important that the routes make sense, that they're efficient, and the service is reliable. I think we've seen a decline in ridership over the last 2 years because of the pandemic. But what we have now is an opportunity to improve those service lines to make sure that they're efficient and that they're actually a genuine option for residents of Burlington to choose whether they'd rather use their personal vehicle or if the service levels are so much more efficient that they opt for public transit and keep their cars off the streets.
So Olivia, real estate is near and dear to me because this is what I live and breathe, this is what I do. And you know, one of the things that we have been hearing is that Burlington has immense pressure from Providence to take certain number of population in huge capacity by 2030 or 35, something like that. So my question to you is, where will these people live?
That's an excellent question. The challenge is that we've exasperated our growth as a result of the pandemic. We had residents leaving metropolitan pockets, such as Toronto,
yes,
to come to places like Burlington that are so highly desirable to live in. We
yes,
love to live here. We enjoy being here.
Yes.
And they've now found homes here
yes,
as well.
Yes.
But in terms of supporting future growth, we need to work with key stakeholders. We need to work with the region. We need to communicate with the developers. We need to look at rezoning possible empty parcels of land.
Absolutely.
Just to make sure that we're providing opportunities for mixed-use residential,
yes,
providing opportunities that are, you know, attainable for all income levels and for all configurations of homes. These are the things that we need to look at.
Yes, and people move here because there's the sense of, you know, green space, there's a sense of parks and trails, but then there's also that push of just going vertical, vertical housing. But there has to be balance, like you said, opening up, rezoning, perhaps multi-structure kind of properties so that, you know, huge lot is not just taking one family, but rather maybe multiple.
Absolutely. I think those are all things that we need to consider as a city.
Yes.
And going vertical is, you know, we've seen it done in other municipalities and it's been successful, but it needs to be thoughtfully done and it needs to be done in the right neighborhoods.
Yes.
We can't keep putting towers downtown and straining that infrastructure. We got to protect our waterfront at the end of the day.
I agree. I love our waterfront and I hate, even as a real estate guy, to see these towers coming up because, you know, why you are there is to enjoy that outer space and it takes away that.
Absolutely.
So Olivia, we have a lot of parks, but this summer we got surprised by something happened right before the school closed. So many parks, including this backdrop behind us, is been shut down. Have you investigated a little bit on this?
I have, and I've advocated for many residents in these pockets, in the Tuck area, because Tuck is also experiencing the exact same thing, and I've had residents calling me asking for support because they haven't been able to get the answers that they need. It's unfortunate, it's terrible. As a mom with 2 children who rely on the parks, this is probably the worst case scenario for any child's little life.
The entire summer.
And the entire summer. The fact that these parks went down at the beginning of summer, literally as schools were closing, where we rely the parks for the summer, only for them to not be replaced by the time schools started up again. And it's troublesome to me. The lack of communication on this issue, the lack of responsiveness, and the lack of direction, quite frankly. I mean, you know, we've all renovated at some point in our lives. We know that timelines change. Let's be a little bit more prudent about these project timelines and keep the residents informed. If you know that it's going to take longer to complete a project, don't start it. Wait until you have everything in line before you start demolishing the parks.
That's right.
It's unfortunate. It's terrible.
And hold yourself accountable.
Absolutely. That is a big deal. Accountability is a huge part of the process. It's a huge part of the role. And if you've let someone down, if you've left a group down, if you didn't respond, address it. Address it appropriately. That is all we're asking. Whether it's an unpopular answer, it's better than no answer at all.
Yeah, it's okay to say, I'm sorry.
Absolutely. That's all residents want to hear sometimes.
Yes.
It's just an apology.
Yes.
Why are we making this difficult?
Okay. Yeah. So Olivia, you have 2 children. You told us where you live. What do you do for fun? Tell us, as part of your career, what are you doing?
So my business background was predominantly focused on supporting the Canadian market for a prominent beer import agency. And then I went on to manage and grow the North American channel for a German tech firm, working with clients such as Ricoh, Canon, and Kodak. But of course, when the pandemic hit and all of our children had to learn virtually, I decided to use that as an opportunity to go back to school myself, and I'm working towards my doctorate in psychology with a focus on mental health and illness.
Wow! In all of this, you still found to elevate yourself, to add on. Wow! I mean, I commend you. 2 kids, all this. Wow! That's something that we would be looking for in a candidate who is a fighter.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been a lot of hard work, but it's been good work. It's been meaningful work. That's important.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm Roshan Basnet. Now I have a last question for Olivia. If you were not running, what would you look for in a candidate that represents you?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, the biggest complaint I've had at the door is the lack of communication and the lack of responsiveness. So to say and use that as a platform item, I think it's unfortunate, and it shouldn't have to be like that, because that is your job. That is your job, to answer to residents. So what I'd be looking for in someone as a candidate to vote for would be, that aside, that's a given, that's an expectation that I have, that's the bare minimum I expect anyone to do.
That's right.
I want someone approachable, I want someone available, I want someone who's present and can make sure they get back to you with the questions and answers that they're after, or the concerns that they have. These are all things that I would hope to have in a candidate.
Got it. Someone who listens to you, who is readily available to you, and who could also be available to answer tough questions.
Well, that's the thing, you know, at the end of the day, as a counselor, you answer to the residents, you work with the residents, you represent the residents, and sometimes that might not be so desirable in a way. There's difficult, tasks at hand, but that is your job. Whether it's a good answer, a bad answer, an unfortunate answer, an unpopular one, you are to work with the residents to ensure solutions are found.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And good luck. Good luck to you this election. And just know that with some of the coverage that I'm doing, a lot of people are going to be involved. And whoever wins, make sure that they know that we will be contacting them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Roshan.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Good luck again.
Thank you.
All right.